Pleasure Way had a heart transplant, and today she's got a heartbeat. I torqued everything down, and I fired everything up, and it works just fine. Everything works. Why am I surprised? I'm always surprised. I take my time. I think things through. I had a Marine electrician here yesterday. He put his time in with the Navy, and now he has a shop down in Cape May called Poseidon Electronics, and he actually he does full systems for ships. He does a lot of work for the Coast Guard, big stuff. And I call him to come up and sit with me when I fire it up, and we do our testing together. I had him here when I worked on Vagabond. We ran heat guns on all the AC outlets. You can run your induction cooktop. You'll be able to run your air conditioner off the inverter. It's relatively quiet when the fans come on, and I haven't put it in its enclosure yet. Don't worry, there'll be plenty of ventilation. I'll show you that when it happens. I've got a shore power shutoff right here. This is a breaker shutoff for shore power. It's your last line of defense when you plug in. The other charging capabilities are coming through this dual system, the Renogy. This is an MPPT controller for my solar, as well as a DC to DC charger from my alternator. It's an all-in-one unit, max of 400 watts in. So I've got 400 watts of solar on the roof. I was able to get 400 watts of solar up here using these particular Renogy 100-watt panels. They're a compact size, and for a situation like this, they just fell into place perfectly. I've got a panel here. I got my Max Air fan. I don't know if you can see the tip of my television antenna. They was part of the Pleasure Way. I'm leaving that in place. The new owner may want to watch TV. We got our awning along that side edge. So I got 1 panel, 2 panel, 3 panel, 4. I cannot connect that panel just yet because I have to put in my new air conditioner. And I can't put my new air conditioner in until the van's outside, or I won't be able to get it through the door. Another thing that I did, as you can see, is I've got cardboard covers on all of these panels, and that's what keeps them sleeping. If they hit, and if any light hits them, of course, they're going to work. They're going to generate current. So I use these cardboard covers, and these cardboard covers are also cut to the exact size of the panel. And this is what I used initially to place my panels up here and see what I could fit. I would have liked to use the Renogy 160-watt panels. I would only get 320 watts up here because I could only put 2 panels right here. I would not be able to get one here, and I would not be able to get one down there. So this actually, using smaller panels, gives me more solar capacity. The way I mounted these things is I put butyl tape on the feet of each of the panels. The panels come with brackets, and I put butyl tape on each of the feet, and then I set that down on a nice clean area. I had to make a couple of brackets because the Sprinter roof has a slight bow to it, and the feet are really made for a true flat roof. So I had to make some pivoting feet down the end, and over here I had to make a bracket that I could extend the panel out and have it set level. So what I'm going to do now, the butyl tape is in place, and I'm telling you, the longer that sets with weight on it, the better a hold it creates. But I am going to pop a couple of small sheet metal screws right through, and that'll lock them all down. I'm not worried. They're sitting about as low as they can be on the roof. So now I'm just wiring up all these panels into my combiner box. What I did is I wired my combiner box down on the table. You can see what I'm talking about inside here. Can you see this? I've got a dual bus in there. So I've got all my negatives coming in one side, all my positives coming in the other side. Clean. Everything's marked. Positive's red, and negative is black. Okay. In this case, I've got all red wraps on the ends. So, I mean, there's redundancy everywhere. And I've got this piece of tape that says stop. And I have that there while I was doing the negative side. I connected all the negatives first. Had to put my MC4 connectors on. So I put this tape on here just so I wouldn't make a mistake. I wouldn't inadvertently cross my polarity and connect a negative to a positive. Now we'd be running one panel in series. It would have been a nightmare. Once I get everything routed, and I have them laying nice, then they all get fastened down to the roof of the van. The reason I do this combiner box this way is rather than, a lot of people will take these MC4 connectors and they'll put one into a double, and then that goes to another double, and they daisy chain all the way down the line until you're left with a positive and a negative that goes down through the roof of the van. That's fine. That's fine. Some quick math. The reason I do it this way. For instance, up here I've got 400 watts of solar, 12 volt because I'm running in parallel. All the negs are on one side, all the positives are on the other side. And the reason I like to do parallel is because if there is any shading on these panels, it's not as detrimental to the performance of the whole array as if I had series. If I ran them in series, my voltage would be higher, my amperage would be lower, but any shade, no good. I'm not afraid of amps. And besides that, my solar controller downstairs has got a maximum voltage of 24 volts total. And each of the open circuit voltage on these panels is 21 volts, I think. So I'm running them down in parallel, 12 volt. So if we had an ideal situation, 400 watts of sun coming through these panels, 400 watts divided by 12 volts is 33 1/3 amps. I think George Harrison wrote a song about this, right? 33 1/3 amps. Now, solar panels come with number 10 wire, which can handle 30 amps. So if you take this panel and you connect it to this panel, and they all get connected, that last pair of wires going down through the van are taking 33 1/3 amps in ideal conditions. And that's just about exceeding the capacity of the wire, and you're building up heat and resistance. With this setup, every panel is coming in individually. I can isolate. If any one panel gives me a problem, pop it off. Yeah, you could do that with MC4s as well. This is cleaner, it's neater, you got more control. You can expand at a later date if you wanted to. So now each of these number 10 wires coming to my bus are being picked up by a number 6 wire to go down to my solar controller. That's excessive. I don't need 6 wire. That can handle 60 amps of current. But it gives me better flow. I get less resistance, okay? Everything's running smooth. There's no holdups. It's like the subway coming into the terminal from the tunnel, fast. So that's why I do that. I brought the Pleasure Way out of the shop so I could get some solar and see where we're at. Now, it's relatively early. It's 11 o'clock in the morning, and it's February in New Jersey. So I've got 12 amps of solar charging current coming in. Okay, here's how the apps work. Xantrex has an app for the inverter. Xantrex has an app for the battery. Renogy has an app for its module. Lithionics has an app for its battery. And they are all very, very close to one another. 13.38, 13.38. So the Xantrex and the Lithionics are dead on to one another. I don't have the Renogy app running just yet because your Bluetooth is an extra option module you have to buy. So I bought that. It's on its way. It'll be here Monday. Oh, you notice the wall of the ottoman is gone. So when I slid this module in to start to assemble everything, I could tell that I was not going to have enough room to work comfortably. And that's my whole deal. I don't want you inventing new curse words, right? So I took the faceplate of this ottoman box off, as you can see. And now, if you need to work on this system, this is how I want you to be able to work on it. Look how wide open and easy this is. That's the whole point of me doing van builds. Look at how beautifully accessible this is. So now what I got to do is I have to decide. I started playing with a way to make this panel removable. It's the Pleasure Way panel. It's got the spot for this distribution box to screw in. It's got some ventilation in it. I'm going to add more. There's going to be plenty of ventilation in my dresser box. So I can either use this as a slide off front panel, or I can come down with my dresser panel. My front face of the dresser ended on top of this box. I can just build another panel that continues all the way down and have access that way. I may do that. I did like the idea of keeping the Pleasure Way face plates the same on either side. I'll kick it around. I'll see which way I'm going to go. I don't know if you can imagine it, but what do you think? Should I leave the Pleasure Way plate in place and just have a way for it to be removable, which I can easily do? Maybe just put a couple of hinges with pins. Pull the pins and away it goes. Or should I continue my dresser wall down and put my ventilation and put hatches in it like that? I've been talking about this system in the Pleasure Way for a long time, right? I've been thinking about it in my head for even longer. And finally, it's in place. It worked out really well. It worked out really well. When this dresser comes in and you got that table buried on the top, it's going to be nice. I'm going to be really happy with this. Next step, plumbing. Plumbing and heating. I got to get an S-bar. I can't fit a Webasto in there. It's too big. The Webasto unit, the Evo 40, is just slightly bigger than the S-bar D2. The S-bar D2 fits perfectly. They're both good. They're both Airtronic heaters. So I'll be using the S-bar in this van. These are the refrigerator vents on the side of the van. You need these when you have a propane refrigerator, which we do not have any longer. But I still want to make use of these vents. So what I did is we taped off the back and we filled in with Dicor, self-leveling Dicor. So now that did a pretty nice job of sealing up those grates. And that tape in the back is really just there to hold the Dicor in place until it cures. And I did leave the bottom row open. That still has airflow because my cabinet, where the refrigerator was, where the propane fridge was, is pretty well sealed off. Because it was a propane cabinet, it had to be sealed off. And all of the airflow occurred from the outside and then back out. But I've got a compressor in there at the top of the new fridge. The AC/DC fridge has a compressor. It's very important that that stays ventilated. Got a battery below, which does not off-gas at all. It's a lithium battery, but I just want to keep that airflow from the outside. So I left one row open, and I'll put some no-seam screening on the back of this. So this, I wouldn't want to do this as a production effort, but as a one-off, as a fix, it's a pretty good idea. It looks pretty clean, pretty legit. And it takes one whole tube per row of Dicor at $17 a tube. This is where I'm working, my combiner box. And the camera's over there. And I had to put a flag up to block some of that light from the Max Air fan. And my camera is sitting on a tripod head that I have mounted to a piece of plywood, and then it's sandbagged so it doesn't go anywhere. I've got my main light here. This is lighting my face in the most beautiful way. Here's my panels. And I've got a light behind me that's just catching that wall so that when you see me talking from camera angle, there's a white glow behind me, and that helps you to focus in on me. It's an attention grabber, so to speak. And then my lighting over on this side, there's the camera And you can see the flag. I've got that up there on a boom so I can adjust the angle. And of course, all stands with height like this get sandbagged. And in this case, here's that main beauty light. See what I got going over here? Let me back up a little more. There you go. There's my main beauty light, and I got my flag. There's the camera up in the corner. The stand wasn't high enough, so you get your Apple boxes. You just raise the platform, and now you get that light to the height you need it. And again, sandbag. The other thing you do is you wrap the cords around the stand. That keeps them stable as well. And that's it. Shot's done. Move on to another scene.